Hi, back with one interesting yet very simple recipe. Today I'm going to make macaroni and cheese, and what I'm going to use for today's recipe, let me just take you through the ingredients. So I have some boiled macaroni right here. Then I have some frozen corn kernels. I'm using some chicken salami. You can use anything you have, you grilled chicken or anything. Especially for kids at home, I think broccoli would be very nice to add some nutrition value to their meal. Also using some fresh spinach for the same reason. And last, lots of cheese, cheddar cheese. So these are the very minimal ingredients what I'm going to use for today's recipe. Let me begin with preparing the roux or the sauce. Roux is basically made with butter or any kind of fat and flour, and that help to thicken any kind of sauces if you're using any making a pasta. So let's begin with the roux. For the roux, I will start with the butter, taking about 80 grams of butter. Using a kitchen whisk to blend the butter and the flour together. Allow the butter to melt. So as you can see, the butter has already melted. This stage, I'm going to add the refined flour. Whisk them slowly. This will help you to get the right consistency of the sauce. We want to make sure we don't burn the butter or the refined flour, but make sure it's cooked properly so there's no raw aroma from the refined flour. So once the flour is cooked properly, at this stage I'm going to start adding the milk. Make sure you add warm milk and continue to whisk while you pour the milk to avoid any lumps. So at this point I'm adding some salt, not too much because I'm going to add cheese also later. So I'm just adding a little bit of salt to flavor the sauce and some white pepper powder. You can use black pepper powder also, but for white sauce, we always use white pepper powder. You can use some nutmeg powder as well. So now you can see the sauce thickening up. You see the consistency there. That's exactly what we want, but we might need more milk later because once you add more cheese, it's going to get more thicker than this. So make sure you have enough milk. So now I'm going to add the cheese, half of it maybe now. इसमें आप येलो चेदर डाल सकते हैं, मोज़रेला चीज़ डाल सकते हैं. So whisk it properly. Make sure आपका सारा चीज़ इसमें अच्छी तरह से मेल्ट हुआ है. You can see the consistency. It's almost like a cheese fondue. So at this stage I'm going to add the remaining ingredients. As I said earlier, बच्चों के लिए आप कुछ भी green vegetables ऐड करना चाहते हो वो आप ऐड कीजिए. मैंने spinach लिया हुआ है. I'm using raw spinach directly into the pot and वो easily cook हो जाएगा. अच्छे से वॉश कीजिए. आपके पास फ्रोजन स्पिनच है तो वो भी आप यूज़ कर सकते हैं. आप चाहे तो स्पिनच यू कैन ब्लांच देम, यू कैन स्क्वीज द वाटर आउट, यू कैन यूज़ दैट ऑल्सो. बट आपको स्पिनच का सारा न्यूट्रिशन चाहिए, सो दैट्स द रीज़न आई एम यूजिंग फ्रेश स्पिनच डायरेक्टली. Adding some broccoli. If you want to add zucchinis, squash, you can do that as well. Adding some corn kernel. You can see the color. यहाँ मैं थोड़ा अनियन पाउडर यूज़ कर रहा हूँ और कंप्लीटली अवॉइड कर सकते हैं उसको. Using some smoked paprika for a little bit of color. Again, it's not necessary that you have to use that. Make sure you cook everything nicely. Most importantly, the consistency of the sauce is what you have to monitor. not too thin, because what happens if you want to bake it later, you won't get that texture. Now the remaining ingredients, chicken salami that goes in, you can saute them as well if you want to. So अभी पास्ता डालने से पहले I'll add little more milk. Right, so everything is cooked nicely, and at this point I'm going to add the macaroni pasta, which I had boiled earlier. Mix everything nicely. आपको चाहिए सॉस थोड़ा और, आप इसमें मिल्क ऐड कीजिए, थोड़ा चीज़ ऐड कीजिए. But make sure they're sticking to each other, because you don't want a runny mac and cheese. Make sure the sauce and the pasta are married together. So we are almost done. Now we are going to transfer it to the bowl. If you want to bake it, add more cheese on top and use a salamander or the oven, adding some more cheese. And that's it. Let me serve the pasta now. You can see the richness of the sauce. It's thick, creamy. Going to add some season to this. You can add chopped parsley. So there you have macaroni and cheese with broccoli, corn, spinach and chicken salami. Enjoy.